D. Woody, Dak should sign an extension now and not wait. Fact or fiction?
Fiction? Hell no. Like, you're literally months away from unrestricted free agency. They can't tag you. They can't trade you. Like, that's what you want. You ask any player, the goal is to get to unrestricted free agency. Dak shouldn't sign anything until that point.
Okay, and he was wearing the walking boot on the boat, which we discussed yesterday was just a precaution. So, fiction. They can wait. Jeff Darlington. Mike McCarthy needs to reach the NFC Championship game to save his job. Is that fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fact under the disclaimer that I recognize I would have probably said the same thing last year and Jerry Jones still kept him. But it does definitely feel like in the final year of Mike McCarthy's contract, with Dak Prescott potentially playing in what it would also be the final year of his contract, that the pressure is on like no other. And by the way, you've got Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick waiting in the wings.
That's a good point. Final one, Harry. CeeDee Lamb shouldn't show up to camp without a new contract. Is that fact or fiction?
I'm going fact. When I look at this Dallas Cowboys offense, and Woody, you touched on this earlier, who else are they going to go to if CeeDee Lamb is not out there on that football field? If you're an opposing defense, who are you scared of outside of CeeDee Lamb? The answer is nobody. So, CeeDee Lamb, don't show up, demand your money, make sure you get it. This is a guy that was second in the National Football League in receiving yards, but first in yards after the catch.
Especially in an offseason where we've seen receivers get paid a lot of money, and CeeDee Lamb statistically better than them coming out of last year. So, Darlington, what's the latest on the contract talks between CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys?
Well, look, everything that I've been hearing is that CeeDee Lamb is the priority. And I'm not saying that he's the priority over Dak, because we understand Dak is the quarterback of this team, but he is the one that they feel like they can get done the soonest. Now, of course, the question becomes, now that Justin Jefferson has signed his deal and Jamar Chase is still lingering out there for what will be a massive contract of his own, are the Cowboys comfortable going as high as these wide receivers are now coveting? Of course, if they want to keep him, it's going to have to be well above $30 million. The Cowboys have to have the palate for that, or they might as well not even come to the table at this point. It feels like it should get done, but right now, nothing is imminent.
Yeah, look, and we talk about with every franchise, not just the Cowboys, especially with what we were just saying a second ago about Dak Prescott reaching unrestricted free agency, which is every player's goal in the NFL. But we do this all the time with franchises. We talk about that window to win big. And financially, with where the Cowboys are, with CeeDee Lamb still wanting a new contract, maybe potentially a holdout, and with where Dak is in his career and financially, Harry, could actually be a window that's got a really, really good Cowboys team closing just a bit because of the aging and the money?
Well, I believe so, because if you're not going to pay your franchise quarterback, then who are you going to go to? Who is the next guy? The reason why I say you should pay Dak is because he gives you an opportunity. And I understand, folks, he hasn't been the greatest in the playoffs. But I can't ignore that they went 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, and they have been in the heights of the NFC. If you don't have Dak Prescott, if you don't have him being, one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL last year, you were going to go to Cooper Rush. Is going to be. I don't believe the young man can't play football, but there are question marks all across the board when it comes to Trey Lance.
It's a talk show.
It really, I mean, who else is there? I always say, who else is it? Who else is it? Who else is it? Like, as much as we admonish Dak Prescott for his failings in the postseason, what you gonna do? Plug one of these backups in? You gonna, I guess, hit the reset button and go with a rookie? But oh, by the way, you're not gonna be drafting high because your team is too good. So you're not going to be able to get one of these in one of the elite of the elite quarterbacks in the draft. Mm-hmm. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's now or after the season, you got to try to get a deal done with Dak Prescott.
Darlington, get in there.
I was just curious, is Damien on tape delay when he's sitting right next to you? Like, is there like a 2-second delay?
I'm sitting here like, Jeff, I'm sitting here like Dak Prescott at minimum is a top 10 quarterback. At minimum.
No one up here is disputing.
No, top 5.
I mean, no one's up here disputing that. The point being that in the NFL we see, and I'm not saying this is Dak, and I'm not even saying this is CeeDee Lamb, But in the NFL, we see financial casualties of franchises all the time.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. Cowboys sometimes don't seem to have their finances in order.
Well, they need to take a page out of the Philadelphia Eagles book.
Which is?
You need to understand how to structure things, when to pay guys. Don't wait to the last minute. Because if you would have got CD Lamb done, you wouldn't be worried about CD Lamb trying to get more than Justin Jefferson. If you would have got Dak Prescott done, you wouldn't have to worry about, in my opinion, him trying to get $60 million on the table.
Darlington, go.
It's also, though, such a fine line because to that point, if you want to talk about the Eagles, look what they did with Carson Wentz. They signed him too early. Like, there is such a fine line when you're a general manager as to when to sign these guys. I don't actually envy the Dallas Cowboys in this situation, but it does feel like they missed the window.
And it goes back to that point we were talking about Jordan Love. Like, pay him now. You better make sure that snapshot of great is what you're going to be getting.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of great in the WNBA, it's because we have to, off the field, on the golf course this time, in Lake Tahoe for the American Century Championship. You know, for someone who said let's avoid distractions, well, he said this about his former Packers teammate, Davante Adams.
Do you think Luke Getsy's Davante Adams good in the new Raiders offense?
I love Luke Getsy. He's a fantastic coach.
Awesome.
And I love Davante. I can't wait to play with him again.
All right. I've had time to digest this and see it and try to figure out if Rodgers was being snarky. Damian, like, okay, let's give him the benefit of the snark. What do you think of what and how he delivered that?
Why? There's really no need. Like, why not hype up your own guy? Like, we've heard from Aaron Rodgers how he's talked glowingly about Garrett Wilson, how he sees so many things in him that's comparable to Davante Adams. So you're going to be talking about a guy that's not even on the roster. And oh, by the way, we haven't even talked about a big offseason signing, Mike Williams, who complements Garrett Wilson very well within this offense. So I just don't understand. Again, we talked about with Aaron Rodgers how he made the comment of, avoiding distractions and all those type of things. But why even talk about that? Why even talk about a guy who's not even on your roster? Hype up the guys that are on your roster who's going to help you hopefully get to the postseason.
I think what makes this that much more worse is that we've seen all the magic that Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers have been able to make over the years, right? Being together in Green Bay. And when I look at the New York Jets, and they drafted a phenomenal wide receiver too, Malachi Corley.
Yeah.
And what I like about their receiving corps is all three guys are different.
Yes.
They bring a different type of skill set to the game of football. But I agree with you, Woody. Why not hype up the guys that are on your team right now? Why are you talking about someone else joining you and you playing with them again in the future? You got to get past playing 4 plays for the Jets. You haven't even been through a full game yet.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
If you keep bringing up the past, it seems as if you can't embrace the current, which is what he did here. Darlington, you'd made a comment a minute ago, and I said we've had a chance to see this, digest it, discuss it, and what do you think now after seeing it again?
I feel baited. I feel trolled. I feel triggered. I feel all those new age words that Aaron Rodgers would probably use to describe my emotional state right now. I want to just, he's on his phone just making a flippant comment about Davante Adams. I want to just push it aside and say he's being playful. But at the same time, I'm like, does he deserve the benefit of the snark, as you put it? You know what I love? Moving on from that, I love when Tyreek Hill, for instance, last year was like, Tua Tagovailoa is the best quarterback on the planet, and I don't care that Patrick Mahomes also plays in this league. Like, maybe that sounds cliche because he's just supporting his guy, but do that. Just do that. And I shouldn't even be saying that as an analyst on TV because we search for moments like Aaron Rodgers gives us. But just do what Tyreek Hill did and say that my guy is the absolute best on the planet and I don't need anybody else.
But and we had talked about it. That's kind of the irony of this statement when he was just talking about all the, I think he called it the BS going on within the Jets organization and the distractions. This plays right into that. I mean, we, like you said earlier, we need to start football so we're not hopping on this and running with it. But that's part of the problem with playing for the New York Jets.
Absolutely. And, that's the crazy thing here. It's just like, again, why are you talking about somebody that's not on your roster? Why, again, you talked about Garrett Wilson, who's one of the best young wide receivers that we have, who's played with arguably the worst quarterback situations since he's been in the National Football League. And now, finally, hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to see Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. And you're taking this moment to talk about Davante Adams, who's with the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
All right, I think we've gotten enough milk out of this cow. It is what it is. He said what he said. Let's just play.
He's pulling a U-turn. He's agreeing to terms with the Broncos.
Help is on the way. Help is on the way.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10, and this game is over. The Cowboys win it.
He is decked. Down he goes. The ball is loose. It's picked up by Dallas, and